First up, in the Delhi liquor policy case, Manish Sisodia is now arrested by the ED. This comes a day before his bail application in the CBI case was to be heard. Meanwhile, Manish Sisodia has written a letter from jail in which he has said it's easier to jail people rather than educate children.
The Enforcement Directorate had moved the CBI court seeking permission to question him inside the jail premises in connection with this money laundering investigation that the agency initiated based on CBI's FIR. So after 2 days of questioning, recording his statement under Section 50 of PMLA, the Enforcement Directorate has arrested Manish Sisodia, and this formal arrest has been made inside Tihar jail. So tomorrow at around 2 p.m., that's on Friday at around 2 p.m., Manish Sisodia will be produced before the competent court where the Enforcement Directorate will seek his further custody. But it comes at a time, a day ahead, a day before the CBI court is all set to hear the bail plea of Manish Sisodia in the CBI case, because both the agencies are investigating this particular case. After CBI arrest, Manish Sisodia's legal team had moved the bail plea before the CBI court, but a day before the CBI court was all set to hear his bail plea, the Enforcement Directorate moved in, wherein they have arrested him, and then he'll be produced at around 2 p.m. on Friday. So the bail hearing will happen simultaneously, but the Enforcement Directorate will take him into custody. So even if he secures bail in the CBI case, until he secures bail in the Enforcement Directorate case, Manish Sisodia cannot come out of jail.
Now, Aam Aadmi Party MLAs Atishi and Saurabh Bharadwaj are now ministers in the Delhi cabinet. They take on the portfolios of Manish Sisodia and Satyen Jain, the two jailed ministers. But Atishi made it clear that this move is only temporary because their leaders are innocent and will take on their jobs once free.
मैं आतिशी मांडीना सत्यनिष्ठा से प्रतिज्ञान करती हूँ कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित
Aam Aadmi Party firebrand Atishi and chief spokesperson Saurabh Bharadwaj taking oath as Delhi ministers. Days after, jailed AAP leaders Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain quit the cabinet. The new ministers will handle the flagship schemes of Arvind Kejriwal's Delhi governance plank. One of the key architects of Manish Sisodia's education model in Delhi, Atishi, now has the charge of the education ministry. Saurabh Bharadwaj, meanwhile, has replaced Satyendra Jain as the capital's new health minister.
मुश्किल परिस्थिति है और इस मुश्किल परिस्थिति में उनकी जिम्मेदारियां हमें संभालने को मिली हैं। वो दोनों जब जेल से छूटेंगे और हम उम्मीद करते हैं वो जल्द से जल्द हो, तो फिर से वो दोनों ही अपनी जिम्मेदारी को संभालेंगे।
जैसे भगवान राम 14 साल के वनवास पे भेजे गए और उनके पीछे उनके छोटे भाई भरत ने उनकी जिम्मेदारी संभाली, हम दोनों भी उसी तरीके से उनकी जिम्मेदारी संभालने के लिए यहाँ पे हैं।
The BJP, meanwhile, intensified its attack on Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal as two former ministers of the Aam Aadmi Party continue to languish in jail in separate corruption cases.
आम आदमी पार्टी आधिकारिक रूप से कह रही है कि जेल में मनीष सिसोदिया जी को खतरा है। मनीष सिसोदिया के पास अरविंद केजरीवाल के राज है, तो क्या मनीष सिसोदिया राज उगल न दें, इसलिए अरविंद केजरीवाल अपनी ही जेल में मनीष सिसोदिया के खिलाफ कुछ साजिश कर रहे हैं। जेल प्रशासन मनीष सिसोदिया की सुरक्षा बढ़ाए और मनीष सिसोदिया को अत्यधिक सुरक्षित वातावरण में रखा जाए, ताकि अरविंद केजरीवाल और उनके लोग मनीष सिसोदिया के खिलाफ कोई साजिश न कर सकें जान से मारने की।
Two new ministers being inducted in the Delhi cabinet in Arvind Kejriwal's bid to assure the people that the Aam Aadmi Party model of governance that he's pitching in other election-bound states is still intact. But the big question, how will he revive his clean image with two of his closest aides in jail and battling serious corruption charges? In New Delhi with camera person Sudesh Vedant for NDTV.
And closely related to the issue of the liquor policy related to the Delhi government, now Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao's daughter and MLC K. Kavita will appear before the Enforcement Directorate on Saturday in the Delhi liquor policy case. She has lashed out at the BJP, calling this an intimidation tactic by the party. The BRS leader Kavita has hit out at the Prime Minister as well after the ED summons, saying that this is the BJP's modus operandi to send Enforcement Directorate to poll-bound states. Listen into this exclusive conversation K. Kavita had with my colleague Sanket.
There is only single standard of ED. You have to target opposition. Single standard है because ED का जो director है, he gets the extension over extension over extension over extension, and he behaves like a Bharatiya Janata Party कार्यकर्ता, not like a ED director. SBI chairman keeps getting extension, then he gives loans to Mr. Adani. SEBI chairman gets extension, then he says everything is well with Adani Group. LIC chairman gets an extension, he says LIC में हमारा निवेश ठीक ठाक है जबकि 50,000 करोड़ का नुकसान होता है लोगों का. तो these things people are seeing now.
बीआरएस सरकार आने वाले इस साल में जो असेंबली चुनाव होगा, किसी भी हालत में केसीआर हारने वाला है. तेलंगाना जनता तय किया है. ये परिवार राज, भ्रष्टाचार राज, एक डिक्टेटरशिप, ये निजाम राज मजलिस के साथ मिलकर राज करने वाले है, वो सरकार हमारे को नहीं चाहिए, ऐसा आज तेलंगाना जनता चर्चा कर रही है.
Let's move on now. BJP leader Madal Virupaksappa appeared before the Lokayukta office. It was a bail condition that he had to appear before the Lokayukta within 48 hours of receiving the bail order. On the 3rd of March, Virupaksappa's son was caught red-handed accepting a bribe of 40 lakh rupees to clear a deal for raw material needed to manufacture soaps and detergents. A day later, over 6 crores in cash was found at the residence of the Karnataka BJP MLA's son.
On the day of a massive rally by BJP National President JP Nadda in Bengaluru. Dramatic scenes at the Lokayukta. A party MLA, Madal Virupaksappa, appeared for questioning at the anti-corruption watchdog's office.
ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಚನ್ನಗಿರಿ ತಾಲೂಕು ಅಡಿಕೆ ನಾಡು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಜನರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ 4-5 ಕೋಟಿ ಹಣ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ವಹಿವಾಟುಗಳು ಅಷ್ಟಣ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಲೆಕ್ಕನೇ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಇದಂತೂ 100ಕ್ಕೆ 100 ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಇದು ಭ್ರಷ್ಟಾಚಾರದಿಂದ ಬಂದ ಹಣ ಅಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಲೋಕಾಯುಕ್ತರಿಗೆ ಸೂಕ್ತವಾದ ದಾಖಲೆಗಳನ್ನು
in corruption, both believe in family rule, both believe in divisive politics, both believe in divide and rule, both believe in commission, corruption, casteism, communalism, all types of vices both the parties are having.
At a time when the BJP is battling corruption allegations ahead of 2023 elections, Virupaksappa's role is being investigated in his son's case, who was caught red-handed accepting bribes of nearly 40 lakhs. This led to the discovery of nearly 8 crore rupees in unaccounted cash from BJP MLA's office and his son Prashant Madal's residence. The 40 lakh bribe was to allegedly clear a deal by a tender seeker for raw materials needed to manufacture soaps and detergents last week. After this, his father, the BJP MLA, retreated from the public eye. The 58-year-old was the chairman of the state-owned Karnataka Soaps and Detergents Limited, which makes the famous Mysore Saddle soap. He resigned from the post after the scandal involving his son, Prashant Madal, made the headlines. The Congress went on the offensive, putting up missing posters in his constituency in Davangere, while the BJP tried to distance itself from the MLA and made statements that the corrupt should be brought to book. However, on Tuesday, after the Karnataka High Court granted him an interim bail, the BJP MLA reappeared to a rousing welcome in his constituency in Davangere district.
What is the use of Nadda having a rally? Let him control his party on corruption. Crores of money has been seized in MLA's house. 40% commission government is going on. Let the Nadda sack the ministers or sack the chief minister.
According to the Association of Democratic Reforms data, Madal Virupaksappa had assets worth rupees 5.73 crore when he filed his nomination for the 2018 polls. In Bengaluru with Kumar, Shrija for NDTV.
Well, and the Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, who's also the State Finance Minister, presented the Eknath Shinde-led government's first budget for the year 23-24 in the State Assembly. Cash payouts dominated the first budget here. Annual cash benefit of 6,000 rupees for farmers of Maharashtra was announced. Insurance cover of 5 lakh rupees for fisher folks. 1,800 rupees cash benefit for farmers of 14 specified hit districts. Girls from below the poverty line to get 75,000 from state government till the age of 18. Mediclaim cover to BPL families under the Mahatma Phule Jeevan Day Yojana of 5 lakh rupees. Meanwhile, 50% discount was also announced for women using state transport system. Under the Awas Yojana, 1 million budget-friendly homes over the next 2 years were announced, and focus was clearly on the farmers, women, youth, employment and environment. With that, we're taking a very quick break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us. Let's move on now. India's first indigenous aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, saw another first, a visit on board by a foreign Prime Minister. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who's on a visit to India, receiving a guard of honour on board the carrier on Thursday. Albanese said, "What lifts the defence relationship to new levels is the resolve and foresight of those who see the relationship not only for what it is, but what it could be." Vishnu Shom explains the import of these developments in the Indo-Pacific.
This may look like a photo opportunity, but there's a lot more in this visit to INS Vikrant by the visiting Australian Prime Minister. The clearest ever sign of the strategic alignment between New Delhi and Canberra. The common concern is China, and Mr. Albanese made it clear that India lies at the heart of Australia's approach to the Indo-Pacific and beyond. What's more, India is a top-tier security partner, and the Indian Ocean is central to both the country's security and prosperity.
And there has never been a point in both of our countries' histories where we've had such a strong strategic alignment, and we share an unwavering commitment to upholding the rules-based international order and ensuring the Indo-Pacific is open, inclusive and prosperous.
The visit of Anthony Albanese, the Australian Prime Minister, comes at a time when the US intelligence community, in a report to the US Congress, has spelled out that the situation between India and China, two armed nuclear neighbors, could be a potential flashpoint. The report says the expanded military postures by both India and China along the disputed border elevate the risk of armed confrontation between two nuclear powers that might involve direct threats to US persons and interests, and calls for US intervention. While the nature of US intervention is not spelled out, and it's unclear if New Delhi would accept any, Australia shares concerns on China's growing military presence in the South China Sea and the Indo-Pacific area. This is an area of common concern for both nations. In fact, for the first time ever, Australia will host the high-profile Malabar naval exercises with India, the US and Japan as partner nations off the coast of Perth in August this year. Australia is also now in the process of stepping up its own naval defences by acquiring up to 5 nuclear-powered attack submarines from the US. It's the first time ever that the US is exporting nuclear-powered submarines. Australia will retain 100% control over the use of these subs, a key guarantee that Canberra pushed for. The Virginia-class submarines being acquired are at the cutting edge of America's submarine arsenal. Mr. Albanese's visit to India comes a week before the arrival of the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida to India, another key strategic partner of New Delhi, and also a key partner in the Quad process. What is the Quad? It is the grouping composed of India, Japan, Australia and the United States, whose foreign ministers met here just last week at the end of the meeting of foreign ministers of G20 nations. So what exactly are the US, Japan, Australia and India concerned about? Here are some details. In 2025, 2 years later, China, which already has the world's largest navy, will operate 440 warships. In 2030, 5 years after that, the US Navy, the world's preeminent navy since the end of the Second World War, will operate 291 warships. That's a whopping 149 warships less than China. A recent US report to Congress has expressed concerns in fact alarm regarding the pace of China's shipbuilding effort. For India, this Chinese naval base in Djibouti in the Horn of Africa is a huge concern. We've got images over there. It is China's first overseas naval base, and as these satellite images show, China has already begun deploying their warships in this area.
For over 3 days now, wildlife officials in Andhra Pradesh have been searching for and trying to reunite 4 tiger cubs with their mom. The cubs had apparently strayed away and villagers saved them from stray dog attacks. Officials say they may now be shifted to the Tirupati Zoo.
4 tiger cubs, hardly 3 months old, were rescued to safety from attack by stray dogs by villagers in the Atmakur forest region of Andhra Pradesh 4 days ago. The forest department was informed and a massive search was launched using trap cameras and foot soldiers to locate the tiger mom. After failed attempts to reunite the cubs with the mother tigress, hoping she would accept them, now all 4 of them are to be shifted to Tirupati Zoo. Uma Sudhir, NDTV.